recorded. All right, welcome everyone to the August board meeting. This is our Q3 board meeting for Seattle Flow Arts Collective. And yeah, so today we have board members Desert, Kat, our Tuck, and Ariana, and our executive director, Arlene. And I want to welcome everyone. We're going to go through our programs. We've had a pretty busy summer, some exciting stuff going on, and we'll go over financials and see where we're at. And then some board business about the next board meeting and checking on our plans for our retreat and board recruitment. So yeah, I think we can get started with approval of the agenda. Are there any edits to the agenda? Any additions? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. And then we want to approve the board minutes from May. Thanks, Ariana, for the notes. And any discussion on those minutes before we approve them? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Great. All right, so I can hand it over to Desert for the finance report.
Well, that was immediate. Okay, let's do that. All right, so everybody should have a link to the treasurer's report in the agenda. Now, oh, do we want to dig into the budget or keep it a very high level, right? We can do a quick review of the budget. We can see where all the living budget, if that is of interest for everybody. I can take a screen share. We can step through it real quick.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Do you have power? Great.
That's the power. Okay, so living budget. Technically, this would now be Q2. Okay, so I went through and I updated all of our numbers from our Q2. And Kat, I took the feedback you had about the forecast budget being in column Q and correctly moved that over to column I. Right? And what that means is that we had approved a budget with an estimated grant income of 35,000, and that is now adjusted to 50,000 with the two grants that we've been awarded, which are a 24,800 and a 26,000 grant. One has been deposited already and we need to report against it, and one, they're technically both reimbursement grants, but we were just fronted money for reasons that had to do with the economy and COVID. The other one is a pending expense reimbursement filing that Arlene and I have scheduled to complete before December of this year. Okay. Only other thing to call out on here, this was true also at our last board meeting. We increased from the approved budget the storage fees. We approved additional funding to move from the storage unit that was inaccessible during the evenings to a 24-hour accessible storage unit. Okay. I do not particularly feel a need to drive through each one of these lines, but if anybody wants to, we can. Otherwise, this is more for people to peruse and understand. I did put the fiscal statement, to date fiscal statement in the treasurer's report as a link. Um, Overall, currently high level, we have $42,000 in the bank right now. That money wasn't really taken into account in our budget planning, which was, I think, an oversight. I think we need to take what we have currently in the account at the beginning of every new budget cycle and add that to our revenue, if you will, right? Because that gives us a more accurate look at what we can afford that year for things like additional projects, increases in pay, et cetera, right? Because every budget we have to date assumes a zero starting position.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, the way I've seen other boards do it is there's a line item in the budget for revenue that's called like transfer from reserves, because it's like the savings we have in our bank account to be used for program expenses in that budget year. So we can definitely look at that for next year. And some boards have like a reserves policy, like having 6 months operating cash in the bank, and then beyond that, the rest would be like available to spend or something like that. We might want to consider something along those lines. And I do have a question on your notes in the Word document said we're behind on direct contributions so far this year. So do we have any sense of why that is? Is it because we mostly get funding from donations at the end of year campaign, or does it have
Yeah.
to do with when? Okay.
Yeah. So if we look at our, you know, we're at 43% of our actual at the end of Q2, right? And that takes into account all donations. Flow Fest actually had a pretty decent amount if we wanted to look at the statement of activity by class. Flow Fest actually had a decent amount of donations attributed to it. But it is true that we are 7% behind our target goal, but the major push for donations at the end of the year. So that number is a little misleading because it's not targeted for like the specific fundraising efforts, right? Like it's looking at a year. Uh, but I mean, there's currently no comparison month by month. We could do one, but that hasn't been a request that's been made yet, and I've kind of put this. I don't spend as much time as this as I have in years past, right? But if we were to look at like 2024, for example, direct contributions in Q2 were 3,000 or roughly $4,000. This year, that's $8,000.
Is that Creative Convergence money though?
It's almost certainly anything that came in from Creative Convergence for Q2, which I think was about 1,300, maybe 16. It's in the statement of activity by class. If you want to pop it up, we can take a look.
Could we do it? Yeah.
hmm Creative Convergence had 1,600 in Q2 raised.
What's the rest of it from? I know,
Uh,
okay, I guess someone
so
said that $1,000 fit check or
so 4,500 was in general fundraising, just standard donations we get through GiveButter or other donation platforms, not tied to any specific program. And if you'd like, we could have a breakout session where we dive into this deeper,
I would
for
like
sure.
to. Yeah,
Okay.
I would like so Desert and I have been making plans for budget vibes for next year. We actually signed up to take a like how to budget for nonprofits workshop seminar thing in mid-September, uh, which should be great and give us some more insight into like how to keep improving this. And then we also have plans to get together and do it together this year. Um, so I'm hoping that that will, between those two things, we'll have like a real kick butt budget next year.
hmm Yeah, we're gonna put some more focus on that this year. Arlene, you want to take a note and send a reminder to dig into the fundraising numbers for Q2? I would, but I'm presenting and that feels a little awkward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
So the 7,700 from FlowFest Seattle. Oh, I see. Okay. Program revenue would be like ticket sales, and then there
Mhm.
were donations. Okay, okay.
Yep.
What are you sure were the donations? Is it because it came through GiveButter? Because some of the I wonder what my wonder is if people's workshop passes that they purchased through GiveButter are being counted as a donation.
So I guess I have a question about the board meeting. I was not prepared to dig into these numbers specifically and have like a budget review session. Is this the time to do that, or is this demonstrating that we need to have maybe a budget review session before or after the board meeting to dig into these more deeply so that we understand all of the numbers? I can't tell you line by line what the input's in without opening up QBO and drilling in, right? So this
Um,
is like, and these reports come out every quarter, right? So maybe every quarter we need to have a budget review to review everything that was all of these transactions that quarter, which I'm happy to set up.
I do like the idea of having a time where we're, yeah, like digging into this stuff and trying to like judge it out a little bit
Hmm.
more.
Cool.
Um, I don't have an opinion about whether that happens in a board meeting or whether that's like a work session or some other time.
Hmm.
Yeah, same. I would participate.
Yeah, because
Okay.
there's, yeah, some questions, and I don't know how much it matters. Like if, like some, like if you counted people's $70 workshop pass purchase that they did through GiveButter as a donation.
No, that would have been put under classified as revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, to the best of my ability, anyways,
Right, right,
right?
yeah,
If they paid you like $30 in cash and sent the rest through GiveButter and didn't put that this is for a ticket,
right,
I'm gonna assume it's for a donation because it doesn't match a ticket price,
right.
right?
And sometimes too, because the ticket prices they go down, I like prorate them throughout the day. So like it starts at $70, but then it's like you got here at 2, I'm not going to charge you for, 2 workshop slots, $70.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, yeah. And if there's a note that, this person bought 2 tickets through GiveButter for this amount, then I can move that over. But if there's not that, then probably it's under fundraising.
okay, let's dig
Yep.
into that. There's this is not quite on topic. But I did review the expenses and revenues from FlowFest that I have compared to what you have last night.
I saw the email.
So we've got some figuring to do
Hmm.
there. So
Yep.
we'll hash that out.
Yep. Ariana, would you make a note that I guess just for general financial review session?
Yep.
Thanks. Okay, so just looking down at the bottom lines here, we're net about negative 11,000 in Q1, our Q2, which isn't all that surprising. Our grants didn't come in Q2. Not really no revenue came in except for FlowFest, and the fundraising. So that's not a surprising number to me. More important than that number is this number, which of course my share bar is blocking for me.
That's
I'm getting there, folks. I'm getting there. Is this number,
that -20.
right? Which takes into account everything, including our rev. It should take no, the forecast. Forecast, this one here.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. We're forecasting to be in the black by 13,000 this year at our current burn rate and forecasted based off of last year's expenses. And we don't really have, I think, many more expenses this year. Right? We have our standard reoccurring monthlies and the board retreat, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So provided that, and this was the comment in this cell, this $50,000 number assumes that we do receive the full grant awarded amount, which, you know, we should on the first one. The second one is going to be, can we claim enough expenses against it, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Right?
it's limited to just a few of our programs versus
Yeah.
the sustained support is for anything.
Yeah. And Arlene, what this kind of brings up for me is these, um, we the grants don't let us file reimbursements. I don't think. No, I think they do before Q4. It might behoove us to start looking at filing our reimbursements for in Q3 so that we can have our finances before the end of, yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
right? Because we're going to start making a budget without all of our income guaranteed yet for the previous year, right?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we can get pretty close to that. Like I feel like we could submit everything by the end of October at the latest.
Yeah, that's Q4.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that would at least mean that by the end of the year
Hmm.
we would have everything, versus like if we submit it, because I think we can submit up to like the end of December, right? But then if we do that, then we're not going to get the money until January, which would make the budget weird.
Yeah. I mean, we've already said we're going to do it by the end of November.
Right.
So that's still within Q3. We can move it up to October, but what I'm saying is I think we should move it up to like August
Yeah, I
if it's
think,
allowed.
yeah, and where we can, because also some stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I am
Okay.
if we can do it, I do prefer to just pay for like all of the reservations for Flow Shop and East Side Spin Jam just at once. That way it's like managed.
No.
Um, so I will plan to do that once I get an adjusted. They owe us money. They're canceling one Flow Shop, but
Mm. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
it'll
We'll
change.
talk.
It'll
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. To wrap it up here for the treasurer, we did file our taxes. We did the thing. It was pretty easy. Nobody had to last minute do a ton of work like in every year previously for both CFAC and Kindle. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, so that was great. Appreciated that. Planning for growth. So I didn't update this section because it was 9 o'clock last night and I was too tired. So to just speak to this, we have closed the US Bank CD and moved that money into the BECU account. So that's part of the cash on hand statement above. We still need to, action looking at what to do with the money in our savings, right? 6 months operating, sure. That makes sense. That's the general rule of thumb. And then what do we do with the rest of that? Right? CDs, high yield savings account, investment, like maybe this is something we can focus on next year. What's up, Tuck?
I'm not saying anything yet necessarily. I was gonna
Oh. I saw you come off mute and I'm like, what's up?
Called out.
Yeah, so, These numbers are not currently valid. This was old. Uh, at this point, we have no CDs. All of our money is in the BECU, either checking or savings account.
So I think that we need maybe somebody to look, perhaps the finance committee, at the options and figure out, okay, what are the risk return vectors, and look at what those options are, and then decide, like, present those options to the group. And as a board, we would decide like what sounds best, based on the options available. But I think there would need to be some initial amount of study done on what options there are. I'm happy to be a part of that because I think I have some level of cognizance and awareness of what's out there.
Hey, folks.
Hell yeah. Hey,
Hey,
Blaze.
Blaze. Yeah, I think that would be great. I have done that a couple of times and sent it out to the board, but there is no bandwidth to take it further than that. If we could get some more people on it, maybe we can push it to some kind of like solid action.
Yeah, I would love to. I can't do Wednesday meetings for the most part. If we can find a different time to meet and just like make sure that I know when the meeting is, and I will be there. Um, but I'm happy to help.
Yep,
Hell
I
yeah.
will look to set something up, and anybody with interest, everyone will get an invite on when to meet. And anybody with interest that feeds back will be on the invite list. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Cool. Okay, let's see here. That's what I've got in the treasurer's report. Any other financial questions before I turn it back over? Going once, going twice. Huzzah.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks for all the work on that, Desert.
Mhm.
Looks great. All right, going back to the agenda. All right, development. We talked a little bit about grants. Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about grants, Arlene?
Um, Maybe just want to make sure it's noted here. So, yeah, Desert and I have plans to next week actually. Um, is, I can't remember if we're meeting or if we're just doing the research, but we like we set dates. Desert and I set up a bi-weekly date, and we talk about things. And so yeah, we're going to be looking into the reporting requirements for the public free access grant and for the For Culture Sustained Support grant, um, so that we can start doing that. And also, we talked about like with the bookkeeper, we can make this easier on ourselves by noting these things in advance for future grants so that they can like mark things as they come in to be applied to the grant, and then it's easier to just like like make a report that we can use for reporting to For Culture or whoever. So that's part of the like future part of the future. Um, yeah, and we will should find out like theoretically in 8 days about Arts Fund. So we shall see. Yeah, I did finally find where it says that they're planning to have responses by September 1st. So we will either get really exciting or kind of bummer news right before Kindle. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what's going on in Grantland at the moment.
Great. And we talked some about where we're at with donations. I'm not sure if there's much else we need to talk about with that right now, unless anyone has stuff to say.
They are very low.
I do have well, I mean, it's not a ton. I've been surprised that some of the flow shop days this summer have been kind of high donation days, which has been cool. I think probably just more people there. So
Yeah, I guess I was more speaking towards like ESJ, but maybe not. So, like last quarter, April to June, FlowShop had more than double, nearly triple the donations that ESJ has, which seems a reversal to me.
well, flow shop has been weird. Flow shop was weird for the first year of your tenure.
Hmm. Because it was didn't have a home really, it was mostly outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it
Yeah.
was free, right, when we were at the, I forget the name of that community center, and we like weren't allowed to accept donations. Uh, so yeah, I'm curious. And now at Washington with Washington Hall, I do sort of pester them slightly more because it's like $1,000 a week or whatever.
Well, I mean, to put it this way, ESJ cash donations was like $1,300 in Q1 of this year, and is less than 400 in last quarter. Maybe that's because they were outside. I don't know. I don't know whys. I think my job is just to raise the point, and then for you to, Arlene, to be like, I wonder why that program is suddenly doing like a third, a quarter of the donation. Maybe it's because it's outside,
Yeah, I'd be curious how
right?
it compares to last year.
Hmm. Okay, we'll add that to our conversation.
Yeah, I'd be curious if they're actually that much lower than Q1 and Q2 last year, because what you said earlier seemed like they were actually higher.
Mhm.
We're just behind for the year total, right? But like that's because we of the end of the year fundraising campaign. So I'm not I'm not convinced they're like especially low this year in comparison with the past. But maybe we can talk about it more at a finance check-in. All right, cool. Programs. Arlene, you want to talk about FlowShop?
Flowshop, baby. Flowshop is kicking butt. We're having a pretty good spell right now. Numbers have been in the like 30 to 40 plus every week all summer. Um, I haven't looked at previous year's numbers, but my like internal sensation of it is that we're up probably an average of like 5 to 10 people every week, which is awesome. Love that. Um, we are confirmed with Washington Hall for the entire season, for our entire dark wet season. So September 30th is our first day inside, and then I forget, end of May. Um, we'll go outside the Tuesday after Memorial Day in May. So that is all set to go. We have paid the deposit. I will probably, like we said earlier, on the first day, they need to adjust the amount I owe them slightly because they have a Tuesday that they have another event going on. Um, and so they're removing that one reservation. But once that's adjusted, I'm just gonna pay them for all of 2025 so that it's just like in our book. Uh, and I'm seeing your face. Just so that it's like done, and then we can get to the requesting reimbursements and stuff like that for the grants. And we turned 10 in September, which I think is really, really cool and special, like for real. And when people come from far away, they're always like, oh my God, there's so many people here. Like, this is so cool. Like, my flow jams at home are nothing like this. And so I'm just like, I love Flow Shop so much. I'm so proud of it. And we're going to have a birthday party. So get ready. I think that's pretty much it.
Question. Just to confirm, there was a ask the flow shop before last that we're still doing alternating mass jams.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm still going to plan to do second and fourth. Masks required time once we go back inside.
All right, Eastside Spin Jam.
Eastside Spin Jam seems like it's cruising in its normal way. I need to talk to Tori about like Tori and I have been chatting a little bit. She's like wanting to find ways to increase participation. And so she and I have been like kicking around a couple ideas a little bit, and she's planning on talking to some of the people, and I think we're gonna try and find time to chat about it at Kindle this year. Just ways to like boost that. And I have some ideas. I think there's some stuff we could do. Um, I do think in the summertime it's hard. Their numbers tend to be lower because it's on a Saturday, so they just have a lot more competition with like other festivals and like everything else that's happening in the summertime. Um, so yeah, just trying to figure out how we can boost that and keep it going. But all in all, but like from my perspective, like looking at the numbers and comparing to last year, it's like roughly the same. So maintenance is not bad. And if we could grow it, I think that would be awesome. So that's kind of what's going down there.
All right, let's hear about the Community Fire Jam.
Okay. We jam in. We had kind of a funny community fire jam year because we teamed up with Levity and Urbana to do the creative convergence events, and then one of those got rained out, which we'll talk about next. But so yeah, so we had sort of fewer jams this year, and then the one we had with creative convergence was like a little different because it was like a 1,500-person event instead of a like just us basically event. Um, but they've been going well. We have Gray and Indigo are going to be taking over the production role from Z, which is great. Excited to see how they take it. And I think it's always awesome to have like new people, like people who have not previously been doing like producer level stuff, like doing that from our community. I'm like stoked. Um, Ariana or Desert, are there other community fire jam things I'm not saying? We have our fire permit for next year. I think we recently or are about to service the extinguishers. The last jam will be on September 20th. What am I missing?
Do we need, when is insurance renewal?
I don't know the answer for the fire insurance. Our general commercial renews in February, I think, but I'm not sure about PEEP.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's set for the next jam.
I think we're good for the next jam because we've
Okay.
already submitted the insurance documents to the park.
Okay.
Um, yeah, my hunch based off of just like a guess that is somewhat informed, uh, probably it's like late winter, early spring.
Okay. Um, yeah, I guess the only other note, next jam is September 20th. Next and last jam.
Yeah, and I'm curious like oh, and I think also we want to be I think this is kind of an always thing for the fire jam, but just like having more volunteers, more leads, especially these summer ones. There's again just like so much competition from other events and camping and all just like the nuttiness of the Northwest when the weather is finally nice. Um, so it'd be good to have more people.
Do you want to talk more about Creative Convergence?
Yeah. Um, so yeah, there are two of these. The July 17th one was Superfly. I think that probably the total number of attendees, not at one time, but like the total number was over 2,000, which is bananas. That's bigger than any of our events by like triple. Like, and I'm including Kindle in that. Like, if Kindle is our largest event, that's like 3 times the size of Kindle, which is awesome. And that was free and in the park. There were so many people there. Yeah, if y'all missed it, I would recommend not missing it in the future. It was very, very fun. Um, and because Levity is like a different chunk of people, and also Urbana has their whole crowd of people. It put us in front of a bunch of folks that we normally are not in front of and who like didn't know that we exist. Um, I got some really nice feedback from some of the like folks who had done Fire with Levity in the past that they were really impressed with the fire circle and appreciated the like level of organization and like how safe it was and like just well managed, which was cool feedback to get. And overall, I'm happy with how it went. I The second one we did end up canceling the fire jam because if we got the one rainy day in August, and folks have it's not fun to do the jam in the rain. So the event still happened, and they moved everything under the covered area. uh, they moved everything under the covered area. So the aerialists and the DJs were in the barn, and then we had a flow jam that Gray and Indigo helped host on my behalf because I was homesick. Thank you, Indigo and Gray. Um, they hosted that in the upstairs area where all of the like equipment and stuff is. So we still had a presence there, still like had good times. Um, Urbana canceled the yoga in the rain for 1,000 people is like not that fun. Um, and though I was not at the event, I heard many, many good things. So people really had a great time. Yeah, we still need to get together. I need to get together with James and with Katie to talk through all of the numbers. There was a grant that they received that we will apply some of the funds to, and then we hosted a Give Butter campaign on behalf, on behalf of the event so that we could collect tax-free donations, and then that we would be then like covering costs and like reimbursing through us so that we can just like save a little money that way, because Levity is definitely an LLC. I forget if Urbana is nonprofit or not. So we have to do some figuring of that, and I don't know what people's thoughts are on doing it again next year. Uh, I know Katie was not thrilled with the process of like working with the city and how much effort and money and obnoxious it was. It was sort of a challenging year, I think, for the parks. They had, I'm not sure what went on, but there was a period of time where we didn't get to talk to Carl, and it was bad. And so we love Carl. Yeah, so now Carl is back and things are okay. But um, yeah, it was sort of a challenging year, like logistically for that event, for reasons I'm not quite sure why. So I don't know if we're going to do it again next year. I would also be curious to get feedback from like our community. I think it's really cool to do the fire jam with them, and it is also really different from our fire jam. Um, like it's just a completely different event, and they're both awesome, and they both fill really different needs and niches. So, and again, because we don't have like a huge team of volunteers, like there could theoretically be a world where we would have like the Creative Convergence Fire Circle that we run with them, and then also have our own separately from that, like in the same month. But that would be a lot potentially on crew and with like schedules and all of that stuff. So, a little bit of mystery vibes, looking at next year. Um, But personally, if there was a will and a way, I would do it again. I enjoyed working with James and Katie, and I think that like I think that the event is just like really, really special. Like it brings it brings like a really big Burning Man vibe to this like central area in the city that's totally free and is like really, really accessible for people with kids or like disabilities or who like are just freaked out, like don't want to go camping, don't want to like go to a festival, or just have never been and haven't been exposed to that. It like really gives a super, super festival vibe to something in the city. And I think that that's super, super special. So I really loved being a part of that. And like, regardless of what it looks like financially and things like that, I feel really great about our participation. Um, yeah, if felt very mission aligned to be there and to help out with that. So, thumbs up on Creative Convergence.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for new people to learn about us also. So, yeah. All right, FlowFest Seattle.
I'm gonna drink a water for my moment.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe in the future we split up some of what Arlene has to talk about with the treasure thing instead of putting it in on top to give her like a break.
Okay.
Um, FlowFest. So Desert and I have been plonking away at these numbers. I did some plonking last night. He already did his plonking, and then I had to plonk back. And then I sent him my plonks, and we're gonna get together and plonk some more. Basically. Um, Overall, it's looking like revenue was 7,000 something, 7,500 maybe, something, 79 maybe. Again, there's still question marks. Um, and that expenses were like upper 9,000 something. Which puts it 2,000 in the hole. But we have grant funding. That's what that's for. So I'm not stressed about that. I already submitted the park permit for the FlowFest Fire Jam for 2026. And once I can get out to Woodland Park to get more granular with the mapping for that location, I'm gonna submit the park permit for Woodland Park. The date is gonna be, it'll be June 12th through June 14th. So June 13th will be the like big main day, Saturday, which is the same same weekend it was this year, which I thought worked great, frankly, as far as like its placement and relationship with other events. It was like much better, and there was also less competition than previous weekends with other festivals. July is just kind of too difficult from that perspective. Like every weekend in July is bad. And also it was not too hot, which has been like kind of the main complaint in previous years. So that helps. And Woodland Park was wonderful. That was people were really into that. So we're gonna go there. I'm hoping in getting more granular with the map to remove some number of the picnic tables that we're required to reserve, which all cost like $50 or something. Because the venue cost for FlowFest this year went up like 500% or something. Like, wait, no, not 500, but like 100%. I think it was double for Woodland Park what we've paid in the past for Volunteer Park for the same amount of time. So, but I think I can shave some of that off. And I think we will also have better like marketing and stuff and things because because I will have the location already confirmed now instead of being confused about it, which made things more challenging last year. And applications to teach will be live on September 1st. So we're gonna start spreading the word, and that's an application for all of the FlowFest events. So that's why it goes live so early. And the theme is symbiosis. Ariana, is that everything?
I think so. Cassandra wants to get the events made ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Looking forward to it next year. Yay. All right. Kindle Northwest is coming up.
And they have insurance.
Yay.
Had a lot of like, oh my God, why has she not responded to us emails over the last couple weeks from the Kindle directors? But Amber, man, she has never let us down. She'll sometimes make it very uncomfortable, but she never lets us down. Bless her. Yeah, so we got the policy in hand. Rain has signed it. I believe she also sent over payment, so that is hot to trot, which is great. That's our main concern. And it sold out this year, which is freaking awesome. That's the first time that Kindle has sold out, which is great. We've been kind of waiting, and my hunch would be that since that happened this year, next year it will happen more quickly because people are going to be like, oh crap, I waited last year to get tickets and then didn't get to go because I was stupid and waited. And now they are not going to do that, which would be great and much less stressful for the directors and makes budgeting more cushy. Obviously, when you have more money, you have more money, which is helpful. So very happy for them for that. And I think it's going to be a great year. The workshop schedule is absurd. I don't know if there's anything else. There have been some like, as far as like reports of harm things. I have had some conversation with Bridget, or like in the spring or earlier this summer maybe, about the reports that they had received up to that point. And it sounds like there have been others that she's going to let me know about. So just so folks know, there's nothing that we really need to like take action on there. But I let you know that that part of the MOU is happening. Is there anything I'm missing, Desert?
I don't think so.
Okay. Want to do downtown Seattle?
Yeah, let's hear about it.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this too. They reached out to us randomly, and I just like the hello at Seattle email. And so they host like cultural little events and just like music and other arts events in downtown during the weekday, during lunchtime. So we're going to be there from 12 to 2 on this coming Wednesday, the 27th, September 10th, and September 24th. I am working to confirm people for the thing. I have someone confirmed for next Wednesday. I get to hang out with Polly for 2 hours, helping
Aw.
people hula hoop.
Could I come too, or are you set? Because I think
cannot.
no, it's totally fine. I wasn't sure I could make it,
Great.
remember? So I can come or not.
Up to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're feeling like that sounds really fun today, then you should come. And if you're like, we totally got it. Yeah. And that's true. Like folks can come. Like if people wanted, like if you're like, oh, surprise, I actually am free, like come. Like the more people who are there and who are just like moving around, because they're gonna be people who are like downtown. I assume that they're doing some like marketing and promotional stuff for it, but it's also gonna be just people who are like walking by. And so if there's more people who are doing the thing, it's like a little more enticing for folks to come play with us. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I think in hindsight, I wish I had asked for more money per event. So we're gonna do these three at the number that I gave them, and which allows us to pay two people 30 per hour, plus some other pay for like administrative time. But if they have us back next year, I'm gonna ask for more money. It might be helpful I would like to make a request to have a time where people help me game out like the amount that we should charge for something like that. There are some times where people ask us to do this thing, and I'm like, based on what this is and who you are and the circumstances, we're just going to come and do this. It's like meets our mission, and you don't have money, and that's great. And other times, I'm like, you guys do have a budget, and this is what it actually costs us to run this event, and we should charge that when it's appropriate to charge people for that. Desert.
So yeah, we should just come up with that rate. Just this is what it costs, and then we can apply discounts.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. And we can still like provide that as a receipt to people too, right? Because that's like beneficial for us. We can use that to be like, oh, look, we like did this thing and we like provided this at a discount for these people. So that would give us fodder for like grants or other stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm stoked. I think this is going to be fun, and I am, like in our mission generally, I get really excited when we get to partner with the city to like help do this, because she also was like, oh, the Greenwood version of me is like interested in talking to you, right? So like when we get in with these groups, we get in with a lot of groups.
Yeah.
And have the opportunity to do this more places. And I love the flow zone. Like having like the flow zone is something that we can bring to events is so cool because it's really fun and interactive and free. And most things, when people go to most events, they're like paying money or they're just like they're watching, right? They're like
Mhm.
consuming the event rather than participating in the event. And I think it's great when more people participate in the world. And so like being an entity that provides opportunity for people to participate and to learn that you can learn things and that you can like do things. This is part of my plan for world domination of love. We just have to teach everyone poi, guys, and staff and
I'm okay with
Thank,
this plan.
thank you. Jeez. Boy.
we need
Boy
sticks.
to the world.
Poi to the world, poi to the people.
Poi is gyrotonics. Doing it makes you feel better. So just doesn't matter how it looks.
Yeah, that's what I got.
All right, thanks for those updates. Wow, we went through the agenda really fast. I think we're gonna not need that much more time for this other stuff. So should we take a break or just keep going? I think we can just maybe keep going. Okay. Board recruitment is still a big goal. I have been trying to plug it at Flow Shop, Circle Time. I've reached out to a few people to invite them to attend our board when working sessions, which Polly did come to the last one, who might be interested in joining the board, but seemed also hesitant, maybe capacity wise. But would be great. Oh my God, I hope that happens. And we had developed some materials, documents about, you know, what it looks like to be on the board, how to apply, but we haven't really like been able to push them on social media as much because of the turnover with the contractor position. So we still have some goals, I think, and things to do in the long run to hopefully expand the board. Does anyone want to add anything about that? Oh, we're thinking about doing video testimonials, right?
Yeah, doing like either video or video voice or like a voiceover with like photos and stuff. Uh and or written. So realistically, I'm not gonna have time for that before Kindle. Um, but I will start putting feelers out. It's also occurring to me that I wonder if I could be so annoying and find sometime at Kindle, maybe like during the show. I'm already like, sorry, I'm being annoying. Where we could talk about CFAC to the event, because I do want people to be aware of us, and also we could have a board member who lived in Portland. Like that's
Yeah.
allowed, you know. So
Be nice.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to mention this at Kindle if you have the opportunity.
yeah. Yeah, I'll figure out a way I can weasel myself into some announcements.
Cool. Next board meeting date. So Arlene flagged this is like the day after Halloween or something, right? November 1st is when we had it, and we should maybe move it.
I am just wondering, yeah, it just seems like because Halloween is on a Friday this year, and this would be the next morning at 10. Which could
So
be bananas.
What are the possible dates? And I guess in considering that, can we go over when is the board retreat? I can't remember.
October, I think,
17th.
yeah, 17th through 19th.
Okay. So maybe like mid-November for this next board meeting.
If we do this, let's send out the when to meet like earlier because it did seem kind of last minute this time, almost. Not quite last minute, but it seemed like it took a while for people to figure out when we wanted to move it to.
Could it happen this week? Like next week? Is that crazy town? Oh, Allison's not here to respond.
Yeah, we might just have to wait till after Kindle so everyone's available to respond. I think that's okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, we can send it whenever. Just have the end date after Kindle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And thinking about the budget, so is that something we would get to review a draft of at that board meeting, or where in the process do we think the budget will be at that point?
I
Because
guess
we
it's
approve it, sorry, do we approve it at the first meeting next year?
yeah.
That's what we've
Okay.
historically done, yeah.
And you know, if we were doing it on the first, it wouldn't even be like started yet, really. So I don't expect it. Like the goal is kind of to have it done by the end of November so that we're not, pardon me, trying to work on it in December during the holidays. But I imagine there'll be some bleed over into December. But I would love it done by the end of this calendar year, right? Like
Yeah.
that would be my goal.
Which would be earlier than we have done it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like at least the last 2 years.
At least ready to send to the board for review
Yeah.
by the end of the year.
Yeah, Desert and I set a date on the 29th of October to get together and
Kick off.
muck around. So,
Okay.
and I think having the two of us is going to be better. Last year, Desert did it on his own. And I think that this will be, I think the two of us, our powers combined, have like all of the information that we need to incorporate for that. So that'll be good.
Teamwork. Yay.
Arlene's gonna
right.
be so bored.
I am going to be so bored. But
Just
I'm
wa-
also I'm gonna be like, oh no, that's crazy town. There's gonna be
Watching me
moments that I am.
format and write Excel formulas and copy and paste things. It's gonna be just thrilling for you, I'm sure.
I'll bring my fidget toys.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right. Board retreat. So October 17th to 19th. Do we have a reservation?
We're reserved, baby. Yeah, we're reserved the 17th through the 20th. This place does, the checkout isn't until 3 p.m., which I was like, oh, maybe we don't need to reserve an extra night. But for whatever reason, we can't reserve it that number of nights. So we're still reserved through Monday through 3 p.m. Someone could have like a nice little vacay. It's somewhere Sorry. There's a link in the board Discord section. I think it's like I'm not even gonna say it. I'm so wrong. But there's a hot tub and a sauna. Ew.
Important parts.
The important parts. And there's also the right number of beds, and there's like there's like some private bedrooms. There's like a mix of some bedrooms that are private, and then some like shared sleeping spaces. There's like two lounges. I think it's gonna be a pretty nice, I think it's gonna be like well suited to our needs.
It's in the Snoqualmie Pass.
Snoqualmie Pass.
It's like a 3-minute walk from the summit east.
Okay.
Could be cute.
Hmm.
How do we want to plan for the agenda for that? I would work with Arlene on that if that makes sense. But open to ideas from other people about what we should talk about.
Yeah. One thought is we could use a working session to plan, depending on what else we have going on. But that could be a predetermined container to figure out food and an agenda and goals.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and if there's any sort of like theme or something, like if we want to have like our main goal is fundraising for next year or like whatever it is.
Mhm. I like that idea. There are so many things that we try to shove into the board meeting or to the retreat. Sometimes it's feel like we're too broadly focused and without enough depth.
Right. Yeah, there's like some way of striking the balance of like of that. And I do also I do like it as a time that it's like a time that we have that we can like go really deep into things. And though I do also like though that it's a time that we're really like pulling back from like being in the weeds of the organization to just sort of like what are we thinking for the next like how are we looking for the next few years? Is our organization going to continue to thrive in the way that we have? And like what do we need to make sure we're like thinking about in advance and all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Plus
agree with
just time
that.
together, which I think is also just really important.
Yeah. All right, Desert, you have a finance go back?
Yeah, I was just kind of going through and looking a little bit deeper. And one thing I didn't mention is we had an earmarked donation for $440 uh, against ESJ's instructor specific payments. That money has been spent and that activity is closed, or tracking that is now closed. We've spent all 440 and then some. So I just wanted to bring that up because it was in our last meeting, our last board notes.
All right, thanks for closing the loop on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, any other things to discuss? Any member comments, announcements?
I would like to touch base with Tuck, if I could, if we're going to end early, about our contractor. Yes.
We should maybe end the open meeting, stop the recording.
Okay, yeah, I think we
So
can do
moved.
that.
Yeah.
Can I have a second for adjournment?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Yeah. Oh, did you just
Aye.
nice. Signal I. Cool. Arlene, can you stop the recording?